is pretty good. The 1.6 PTS has been updated. There has been bug fixes along with some changes. Some of these changes actually affect the provisioning update portion, and that's what I figured I would go over right now. Wow, no mic on. All right. I just said we went over the Crown store with Hide Helmet off and checked out all those costumes again. And we also got to figure out what quantity the potions and soul gems and such are sold in, so that's good. As well, we got to find out what the Imperial Edition was worth. Now, we are going to look into provisioning. We already did this, but as most of you probably know, 1.6 had a patch out for the PTS server, and they did change some of the provisioning changes. As in, it's not even that they changed stuff back to how it was, and they made a couple of different changes. We're going to go look at some of them right now. Alright, I am on a template character, and I'm in Craig that I am not used to being in. Alright, and I should update this. Ensure I can see if you guys want to ask me something or chat a little bit, I'll be able to see it. Now, one thing that 1.6 originally changed was that you could buy drink ingredients from the brewer. You could buy ingredients from pretty well anybody that had anything to do with selling you food. Now, they've changed it so you can only buy ingredients from the grocer, which I find fantastic as well. They changed the prices, as in previously on 1.6, every single ingredient was available, and it was available for 10 gold. That was dirt cheap. The only two ingredients you can find were the two ingredients you need to make a purple recipe. So, other than the fact it would be very difficult to find recipes to start out, provisioning was made even easier than it already was. And I definitely think it was already too easy of a craft. Everyone picked it up. There was no need for you to sell anything because everybody could do it. Oh. My chat is not connecting. 2 seconds, guys. There we go. It is connecting. So, now the only ingredients we can buy from the grocer, which are much more expensive. Ooh, to be honest, I'm not a min-maxer. I couldn't tell you exactly what would be awesome for you. And the 1.6 is coming out. We're actually on the PTS right now, the public test server, and they are totally changing all the skills. They're adding in a new champion point system to help buff up your character. They made heavy armor way better than light armor, or I shouldn't say better, but it's heavier like it should have been. So to recommend any skills or builds right now would be pretty foolish of me. I think you should just come to ESO, try it out, and once 1.6 hits, then you should look into what you should do. If anything, you can start out by just leveling up all your different skills and your morphs, and then that way when 1.6 does drop, you'll have those things already leveled up to choose the build you want. Alright, so back at looking at this, with the provisioning, your grocer only sells you fresh produce. You can't buy flour. Not even that I think flour was in the game anymore, but it is literally what you find wandering down the produce aisle at your local grocery store. Those are the only ingredients that can be purchased, and it is for a much steeper price. They also mention your brewer would not be able to sell you any ingredients. Previously, your brewer would sell you all ingredients that were needed for brewing drinks. And here we go. Let's take a look at this brewer and see if he offers me anything.
You look like you could use a
and to kind of touch on that build idea again, I run a Templar, but I do run a healer that I'm also going to try to tank in, but she does the, restoration and the destruction staff. I personally have no experience with that build, but I do have a source that is bow and mostly stamina based, but she's a little bit crippled because she also does every craft. So I find her difficult, but that could be because she doesn't have most of her passives and whatnot. Uh, well, you can pay to respec. I believe, I've personally never done it. You have to be in the second area of your faction, go to your major city, and I believe it's now 50 gold per skill point that you've spent. That's how much it's going to cost you to reimburse. You can do a way that you only reimburse your morphed skill points. As well, if you start before 1.6, they will be giving everyone a full free respec once 1.6 drops because so many of the skills are changing. And look at that. You cannot buy any of your ingredients needed to brew drinks now. I really enjoy this change. I really enjoy that they made ingredients expensive. It's about time that they made provisioning a little bit more difficult. And it will be a bit more difficult to even get ingredients because whenever you go anywhere, let's see, it's stealing. You can no longer just loot barrels like crazy while you're in town. You're gonna have to do it while you're out and about questing, in dungeons, in delves, and you're just not gonna have the huge amount of ingredients from 5 minutes playtime that you used to get. And I think it's really gonna help out provisioners. And, oh, here's the chef. The chef should not offer to sell me any ingredients at all. Alright, no ingredients. Provisioning is getting harder. This is great. I know a lot of provisioners are going to be unhappy with these changes because they already were unhappy with the fact that you can't loot everything, but I think it's really good. Because we're all allowed to do all the crafts, there needed to be something to make it more difficult to be a crafter. They made it too simple, so everybody did every craft, so there's no need for crafters in the game now because people just can do it themselves. They don't have to hire someone to build them a good set. They don't have to buy the food and the beverages off of people. They just go do a quick run around town and boom, they can craft all their own. They probably found all the ingredients, probably found a couple recipes. I'm happy it's not going to be that way anymore. If you want to do it, you need to work hard at it and you need to earn it. And I think that's great. So this also means our ingredients might actually be worth selling. When on the previous 1.6 update, you couldn't even sell your ingredients at that point because everyone could go to a brewer, a chef, or a grocer and buy every ingredient for 10 gold. It was ridiculous. Now, people at least have this area where you can start selling your ingredients for 100 gold each because it's cheaper for players to buy from you than it will be from the grocer, which I think is definitely the way it should be. Alright, and you know what? That's all I really wanted to cover for this short